There we are.
Hello, happy Monday. Hopefully you could hear us in the background, wondering if we were on or not.
It's always good to start with technical difficulty or operator error.
Yeah, what you don't know, I was just running around about 10 seconds ago trying to fix the lighting, but
He did it.
I did it.
Doesn't the
Hello,
light
happy
look
Monday.
nice?
Welcome to Wolf Mountain. We are whatever. I don't know what we are. Who cares? We're Wolf Mountain. We're whatever the freaking heck we want to be.
You decide.
Here we are, your online alternative spiritual community for refugees escaping the religious culture. How about that?
I like it.
Me too.
Mm-hmm.
For those of you who are new to Wolf Mountain, from 7 to 7:30, our resident Enneagram coach, Melanie, or Mel, schools is on the Enneagram. If you're not familiar with the Enneagram, I encourage you to look that up. Take the test, figure out what your number is, because it's a great tool to help put you in a category and label you. No, it's not what it is. Describe what the Enneagram is for the people.
Briefly, it is a personality typing system, which does not put you in a box, but it does, in fact, reveal the box which you are already in. And it's a great tool for self-discovery and for strengthening relationships.
It's like finding out your blood type.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can't put me in a box.
That's right. It's your personality blood type.
I want.
And then from 7:30 to 8, I get on and do a little spiritual intelligence training. And tonight we're going to continue on from last week, the stuff I didn't finish up from
I think it was 2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago. But I said
holiday interruption.
Yes, that I would continue. So we're going to talk more about that. And we encourage questions, comments. We have a comment section, which occasionally works. Hey, Julie's here.
Hi, Julie.
We can throw your comments up on our screen, so if you don't want to, and we will. So if you don't, I mean, everyone sees your comments anyway, but we might.
They can see them big.
Yes, we'll see them big. What else? Am I missing anything?
Well, I don't know if you thought of your favorite thing ever of the week.
Oh, I will.
Or not.
I will think of my favorite thing ever of the week.
Okay.
Do you have one?
I do.
What is it?
So my favorite thing ever of the week was getting back on my motorcycle for the first time this year. And I was so nervous that I forgot that I was afraid that I would have forgotten how to ride entirely. And I did kind of forget, like, where's the turn signal? And where's the
Don't admit
button?
that on camera.
I'm being vulnerable.
She's a new rider. Because you saw us last year, she learned to ride on a kind of a powerful bike first.
It's an 800cc, which is, I think, a lot for a newbie. But I have a really good teacher who's patient.
Who's that?
Who's that guy? It's that guy. But we got out for 2 rides this week because it was very warm until it got cold again.
It is cold
a couple days ago. But it was lovely to ride around and
Hi, Caitlin.
Get back on the bike, and it felt good. So
cool.
I was
That's
encouraged.
My favorite thing ever of the week then too.
You had to have your own. You can't steal mine.
Oh, that was when I was going to pick actually.
Okay, then from your perspective.
My favorite thing ever of the week is watching my wife ride her motorcycle in her cute little motorcycle outfit. It's entertaining, although slow, but that's okay.
We did have one very late night motorcycle shopping or motorcycle gear shopping
Never
spree.
shop at 3 a.m.
So it hasn't arrived yet, but it would be funny to see what it actually is.
It was all for her. Don't look at me.
It was.
Got to gear up. You got to, that's why you buy a motorcycle, so you can wear the cool clothes. It's the only reason.
It's pretty cool.
That's a lie.
It is one of the
Let's move on from favorite thing ever of the week. Hi, Caitlin.
Hi, Caitlin.
Julie. How's it going in Australia today? You know, it's funny. My memory today that popped up in my photos was Adelaide. So we met in the park. So
that is cool. The most beautiful park I've ever been in. It is stunning.
It is
so pretty.
Cool.
With the bin chickens and everything.
I think I can live in Adelaide. You should find me a house.
I think it's just as expensive there. No. Plus, they're not letting in Americans.
Still not.
Fix it, Caitlin. Fix it.
Fix it. Let us in. Okay. What are you going to teach us today?
I am going to talk about certain childhood messages that each type are likely to have received in childhood and have more than likely brought with them to adulthood. And of course, we get all kinds of messages as kids, and no doubt we have brought many of them with us on our journey to adulthood. But there are some common themes for each type that it's part of what is at the core of your type. So it is an interesting exercise to take a look at those and to examine. Maybe some people can actually look back into their childhood and pinpoint like an early memory where they got this message. Some not so much, but it will tend to color the way you experience the rest of your life. So
the lies you believed as a child.
They are, and
they
not
can, necessarily lies. They're experiences that you've turned into internal dialogue.
Yeah,
that you've carried over into adulthood.
Right.
So you guys explain that in one sentence.
Yes.
I should teach the Enneagram.
You definitely should.
Caitlin, the Botanical Gardens. Yes, that is where we met.
Yes.
Here. That is a cool place. If you ever go to Adelaide, people, which I recommend, go to the Botanical Gardens.
Yeah.
So we didn't really get to explore the rest of Adelaide, though. I really wanted to.
But I love that they call it Adelaide. That makes me love it so much more.
It's the Portland of Australia.
I think so.
Okay, well,
anyway,
let's go.
Yeah, so the childhood is sometimes called childhood message or sometimes called childhood wound. And this is an area that I haven't talked about very much. And I think for me, it's an area that resonates a little bit less. For some people, it resonates more, and really, every person is different. So you can see if it resonates with you. And if it doesn't, then
get out of here. No.
Then just
you're watching the wrong show.
We'll see how it goes later. Maybe next week something will make more sense.
That's a lie.
So I heard an interesting discussion one time. Some parents, and of course we're not parents, but we were a puppy parent, but some talking about the childhood wounds. And so your Enneagram type, there's a lot of discussion whether it is a type you're born with or whether you grow into that type. Is it nature or is it nurture? I lean towards mostly nature, but I think it's probably a combination of the two. So these parents
toward nurture myself.
Yeah, I don't know. So these parents were like, okay, so if you could be perfect parents, would your child then just have no Enneagram type? Like,
We'd be all the Enneagram types.
Yeah, it would be just like so completely integrated that they were none of the above. They were like Jesus. So I don't know. That's a tall order. Probably we're not going to get there. And even with perfect parents, still as kids, we internalize and interpret things certainly in all kinds of different ways than our families ever intended. So and perception's reality for us and for those kids, even if that isn't reality. So in talking about this today, it's not to cause any feelings of guilt or shame for parents, like that they wounded their kid.
We're coming after you, parents. We're screwing us up.
Nope. That's not it. And that's why I mostly don't talk about this, because I don't want people to feel like they did a bad job or, they broke their kid. Because no parent is perfect. And even
you're the reason I'm like this.
And even if they were, also kids aren't perfect. And so they're misunderstanding things.
We're all just people trying to make it in this world.
That's
screwing up all of our individual children. Our dogs
We've all
really
been
messed up.
Screwed up, and we can all also screw up other people and animals. Anyway, but it's good to kind of take a hard look at your particular childhood message for your Enneagram type and examine where you might believe something that's not really true and how it's affected your life, and maybe work through some specific memories even.
I just really realized I have this little fight the power wolf.
Oh,
we're going to have to use that for something. Good comment. And I'll be like, yeah. See that up there in the corner? I hope you guys see that. Or you're like, what the heck?
Super adorable.
You know what I'm talking about. All right, let's hear how we're screwed up by our parents.
All right, so I'm going to start with type 1s, reformers. So a childhood message that that a 1 might hear and internalize is that it's not okay to make mistakes. And I think about all the ones I know, and they tend to put a ton of responsibility on themselves. Like they feel innately like it is up to them to make sure things are right, that things are done right, that they do things right, and so do other people, that they feel a lot of responsibility. And I was thinking about my sister, who's a type 1, as a child, and she did feel and seem burdened with an obligation to, like, in a way, keep us all in line, which is funny, the rest of the family. So we nicknamed her Sarge.
She appreciated.
Which I think she totally appreciated. But it was like this real internal obligation she felt to make sure we were doing stuff right. And because the rest of us were a little bit more easygoing, except maybe my dad, who was a type 1, who I think appreciated the Sargeness. We kind of didn't really mind the adorable direction from my little sister. So cute. Anyway, so type 1.
One's crazy because they hate people give me instructions, just so you know.
Yeah.
Do you want to rub my fur backwards? Tell me how to do something.
I'll just rub your arms backward. So once, give yourself a break. You don't have to fix everything.
I have to fix everything once. We got this.
We got it. I mean, we probably don't have it as well as you got it, but it's still going to be okay.
It'll be like a happy medium.
You do you.
Well, we have to feed tonight. It looks really blurry to me on this. Sometimes our internet, we live in the sticks, so our internet is sometimes not great.
What are you going to do? Okay, moving on to our helpers. So a childhood message they probably internalize is something along the lines of, it's not okay to have your own needs.
2.
For 2. The helper.
It's not okay to have your own needs.
Right. So 2s in general always put themselves at the back of the line and are concerned about the well-being of everyone else. And sometimes you'll have to really fight them to insist that they do think about themselves and do something nice for themselves.
So they're the last ones at the potluck to get food then?
Yes. They will give up their seat. They'll give up their plate. They
Julie,
will let themselves go hungry so others can eat.
Dang it. I hate it when it's blurry.
Oh, well, at least we can not talk blurry.
It's 1. And there it's full. Well, sorry, guys. We'll just be blurry this week.
Maybe we just are blurry.
Maybe we're actually pixelated.
It's kind of a rough Monday, so I do feel a little blurry.
I feel a little pixelated.
Okay. So, so for 2s, just please know that it is okay to have your own needs. Everyone does, and that is okay. There is absolutely no shame in taking care of yourself. And we love you no matter what you do or don't do.
I'm a 1. It's true for me. Paul's a 2. It's true for him as well.
Paul, take care of yourself, buddy.
I'll take care of you, Paul. Psychedelic blur. I'm sorry, we're pixelated. If we hold really still, it'll be less blurry.
Oh, okay.
That's a trick.
But
it doesn't seem to be working.
I gotta talk though.
Is your iPad?
It's off. Yeah, sorry. Okay, so moving on to, let's make sure I'm on track here. Okay, to type 3, the achiever. So a childhood message 3s may have internalized is that it's not okay to have your own feelings and identity. So for young 3s, they feel loved and valued by being the best, by winning, by achieving. And so as a child, it is very external. So it's whatever constitutes success for their childhood family. So whether success means making a lot of money, if it means being an athlete, if it means being, becoming a pastor, or if it means being a missionary or a performer, it is whatever success is in that family, not necessarily what their own goals and desires are. So it's very externalized. And 3s just need to take some time to look inside and see what it is that really does make their heart happy, not just how they look to the rest of the world.
Chameleons.
and the people that they're trying to impress. Like, what do you want? And it's okay to go after what you want and whatever feels like success and happiness to you. It's okay to go for that.
What if it's to make everybody else happy is what you want?
If you're a 3, that probably isn't. But if it is, go for it.
Caitlin, can we just talk about 4s? I know. Just get
We're
the 4
almost
show.
there, 4s.
Next week we're going to do.
Hang in there.
It's
You
the
just
4
hang in
show.
there.
We don't care about you. No, just kidding.
Okay, since I have 4s on here, let me ask you a question. So
I'll just ask.
what I would say the main childhood message for 4 is a little bit different than my Enneagram teacher, Beth McCord, that I got certified through. So you guys tell me what resonates more for you.
Oh, we will tell you.
Okay. So what I would say, just in my experience with 4s and my own research, is that
You're awesome.
Well, yeah. And the internalized childhood message that a 4 is likely to experience is that no one understands me and everyone will abandon me.
That is also true.
So that's what I think. But what Beth says, and you can tell me what you think of this, and Caitlin, I'm curious what you think. She says that it's not okay to be too functional or too happy. And I don't know, or maybe I'm uneasy with her wording.
I
What do you guys think?
actually think as a 4, sometimes if I am experiencing happiness, like just being really happy, a happy moment, it feels like a wrong emotion for me.
Interesting. That it's not being true to yourself, or what feels wrong about it?
I don't know. Actually, I've always tried to put my finger on that. Just like, oh, this is not for me. Like happiness is not, this kind of happiness is not for me. That is true.
Oh. Which one, Caitlin? What do you think is true? I'm curious.
Yeah, it's just weird. It's like, nope, I should be gloomy. I should wear, it's like I should wear black. It's funny is this thing though, people kind of like will beat that back into you though, because like if you are like in a really good mood, well, me in particular, I'll speak of myself. Sometimes if I am like smiling or happy or having fun or laughing, people make such a big deal about it that it's like, it makes me feel self-conscious. Or I wear a lot of black. I don't always wear black though. It's funny. People think I wear black from head to toe. Like I walk around in a bat suit, but if I wear another color, people make a freaking big deal about it. Like that picture I just posted on Facebook of me smiling.
The beautiful green.
People make a ridiculous deal about it, almost so much that I'm like, I don't
just
really
turn
want
it black
that kind
and
of
white.
attention. I know. Just gonna walk around in black and white.
Aww.
So it is weird. So it's almost like the energy you put out, people throw back at you. Anyway, what did Caitlin say? First one, never understood.
Okay. Yeah, I'm with you, Caitlin. So, Beth's a work in progress too. She's not a 4. She's a 9. Okay, never understood.
Julie, 4 is the most interesting part, right?
Okay. If you 4s are okay, I'm gonna move on to 5s.
We're gonna cry together. Hold on. My order is black and I feel so naked when I wear color.
Feel naked when you wear color. That's so funny. Aww.
Actually, you know what I'm thinking about? There's there's like a whole kind of healing modality around color, like wearing color, using color to shift atmospheres and things like that I'm like afraid to explore because I'm gonna probably find out I've been sabotaging myself my whole life by wearing black all the time. So but I'm gonna
gently.
I'm gonna explore it because it's interesting. That stuff interests me. Okay.
That does sound interesting. Okay, so moving on to type 5, the investigator.
Eves.
Yes. So their childhood message is something like, and here I kind of disagree with Beth also. So what I would say 5's internal message would be more like that they can't rely on anyone else to meet their basic needs, that they need to be completely self-sufficient. So Beth put it as, it's not okay to be comfortable in the world. And I think she means more like socially. So there might be something to
I kind of
that.
have a little bit of a 5 wing. I can see that. Yeah, so I don't feel like I can rely on. I mean, just one of my core. I don't know if I believe it in my head, but my heart, that just you can't rely on other people to do anything. No one will do anything for you.
And with 5s, it doesn't seem to be like they don't seem to have internalized that in a resentful way necessarily, just in a more matter-of-fact way. And it's it's more that they don't want to have to rely on anyone else as much as that they can't. It's that they just really don't want to have to.
It's a trust thing.
I think there's a trust thing, but mostly they're just most satisfied if they are fully self-reliant. If they know everything they can about something and they just have the resources they need, then that's where they want to be.
Army.
Mm-hmm. But 5s, it's okay to rely on the rest of us. We're designed for community.
We'll let you down and abandon you. You cannot trust anyone, 5s.
Don't listen to him.
I'm reverse engineering the Enneagram. 5s, don't trust anybody.
It's just all
Everyone's
reverse psychology.
And you don't know what you're talking about, ever. Oh, wait. No, you always know what you're talking about. They won't listen to anyone else.
So moving on to type 6, the loyalist.
Maybe we can play like good cop, bad cop. You can be like good Enneagram.
Good teacher, bad teacher.
Enneagram.
Yeah. So I think 6s are interesting coming up after 5s because they're kind of the reverse. So their childhood message is probably something like, I can't trust myself. I can't rely on myself. I have to find outside groups and people to fully depend on.
Yeah,
so
really.
It's really the reverse of
6s don't trust
5s.
themselves.
They don't trust themselves.
Oh,
Not that they
terrible.
think they're gonna like just run wild necessarily. Just they don't trust their own decision making. And they're always second guessing.
Oh, I did not realize this about 6s.
Yeah.
Wait, Rachel.
A key thing.
She felt that way a lot as a kid. But I think it's more related to being extremely independent. Which is its own can of worms.
Yep.
Who made up this term, can of worms?
I would like to know.
It's disgusting. I don't want cans of worms.
I don't want to open the can of worms. I'm going to leave the can of worms.
It's a 5 thing.
It is a 5 thing. Yeah.
All right. Sorry. Distracted.
Okay, 6s. Yeah. So just a reminder for 6s that you can count on yourself. You can make good decisions. Trust your own intuition and judgment.
6s.
You can do it.
Trust your gut.
Yes.
Wait, are they heart or head? 6s are head.
They're head.
6s, stop trusting your head.
No.
Learn to trust your heart.
They need to trust their head and their heart.
Oh.
You guys can do it.
I like this reverse Enneagram. Okay.
Okay, we're moving on to 7s. I don't know if there's any 7s on, but this is the one that I have the most questions about because this childhood message has always seemed off to me, but I'm not a 7, so I don't know, maybe it does resonate with 7s. And I don't have a better one than what Beth says. So what she says is along the lines of, it's not okay to depend on anyone for anything and that you won't be taken care of.
That seems similar to the 5 thing.
It is in a more nurturing sense, in an emotional sense.
The 7s,
so
I
like
know,
that 7s don't
feel
like they didn't feel nurtured as kids. Like that responsibility is on themselves to nurture themselves, but it's more, it plays out in 7s entertaining themselves as a distraction. So, and I don't know. I mean, just what I know about 7s, that just seems like a strange childhood message. So any 7s on there, I'm so curious if that feels or sounds right to you. So
come on, 7s, where are you?
I don't know.
It's blurry. Everyone's jumping off.
Oh, okay.
Again, we apologize about the blurry internet feed. We never know what it's going to do. Sometimes it's crystal clear. Sometimes it's blurry. We cannot figure out why.
What are you going to do?
It's nuts. Okay,
moving on. I only have 4 minutes. So type 8, the challenger. So the childhood message for 8s, and this one does really ring true, is the belief that they will be betrayed. So they cannot ever make themselves vulnerable because it's not worth the risk. And every 8 I've talked to that's done significant self-exploration agrees that deep inside, even their most trusted friends and family that they love and adore, they do believe that they will at some point betray them.
So then, will they return betray those people?
They wouldn't see it as betrayal, but they will be confrontational. They may subconsciously try to push them away. They will definitely be bristly, and that's like a preemptive thing. Like they just want to brush off the people that aren't going to be worth investing a little bit of themselves into.
Prickly little cactuses.
They'll be prickly, and that clears out a certain layer of people. It's true. But
what if we like say, all right, 8s, you betray us, we're going to come back and betray you. Wait, that doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't make sense. I don't even know what you're trying to say.
We got you figured out, 8s.
So 8s, try to trust and
it's hard
be
to
vulnerable.
find trustworthy people. It is hard.
Yeah. And I think 8s, like 8s will label things betrayal that like I as a 9 wouldn't label betrayal.
Like what?
And
give us an example.
Like maybe if they like found out that somebody said something behind their back that was maybe even true, but just like not supportive, they might feel betrayed. Whereas like 4, for example, I think 4s would label something as abandonment that other types might not see as abandonment. Like you would say, like you do think everyone's going to abandon you. And like, I don't think anyone's ever abandoned me. And so both those things cannot necessarily be true. Anyway, so it's a perception thing.
Interesting.
Yes. From a different wording. Okay, so I have 1 minute to talk about the last type.
9.
Type.
You have more than that. You can,
9.
You can
can I overflow? Okay.
I guess my section's not that important. You have mine.
You can go over 8 o'clock. I'll give you permission.
No, I can go over at 8 o'clock.
Yeah. Okay, so type 9, the peacemaker, our last type. And so the childhood message that 9s internalize is it is not okay to assert yourself and your presence doesn't matter. And I do recognize that I have internalized that, but I cannot pinpoint a time where in my family that was put on me. Like I can't think of any time where someone shushed me or silenced me when I was trying to
maybe it was more demonstrated than.
I don't know. I really tried to think, is there a specific time?
But do you think that's one of your internal dialogues personally?
Oh, for sure. It's an internal dialogue. I mean, that is running in the background. It's part of my iOS. And that is, not easy to get out of. It might be Windows.
That is funny. Because I used to, like, it makes sense because when we were a lot younger, I would always tell Melanie, so she walked down the street, she would just move around everybody and no one would get out of her way. She'd just scurry around like a mouse, like step out of the way and wait for people to walk by. And it used to drive me crazy because I'm just like, part the Red Sea. And I'm like, where's Melanie? She's always like waiting for somebody behind me. It's kind of like she doesn't hold her space. So I was like, you need to hold your space. Like you're just letting people walk over the top of you. It's probably related to that, isn't it?
It is related to that.
So then teaching to ride a motorcycle, I'm like, you cannot do that on a motorcycle. You actually have to show everybody else how to drive on a bike.
More assertive.
Yeah, you have to be assertive. So that's a good challenge for you.
It is a good challenge for me.
I wonder if like there's not a lot of 9 motorcycle riders.
I bet there are fewer than other types. I bet you.
Interesting. Cool.
Yes. Okay.
What else? No 9s on tonight?
They're sleeping.
They're all sleeping. They're so tired.
They're so tired.
They were going to get up and watch it, but it's all the way over there. And they're over here. And it takes so much energy to walk over there.
Okay. So just homework for everybody. If you feel like it, just think about that, the type of your childhood message and see if it's still playing in the background of your own psyche. I bet it is.
Cool. All right. Well, we are going to take a 60-second break. Not minutes or hours, like I usually say.
Just one.
And then we will be back.
Oh, that's right, Julie. Linda is a 9. She is a badass. She skydives and rides a bike. I love her. She's impressive.
Linda. Oh, yes. Cool. I regress.
Okay.
Okay.
We'll be back.
We'll be back in 60-ish seconds. I don't know, a few seconds.
But we'll have some entertainment up for you, so don't go away.
And hopefully we can get the internet a little clearer while we're away. So hang in there. We'll be right back. Let's join that music.
What a nice mood, isn't it?
Isn't that groovy? Hello, welcome to Wolf Mountain Phase 2. We're back. And what are you doing?
I just want to see the comments.
Distract me. Oh, hi. How's everybody? Welcome if you're just joining, and hello again if you have been on. This is Phase 2 of Wolf Mountain. 2 weeks ago, we spoke about being the wind and not the tumbleweed. Someone had asked me a personal question about how do you, as an empathic person, as a spiritually sensitive person, observe but not absorb your environment, and it could cause you all kinds of mental and spiritual distress. And that was a really great question. So I had promised to speak on that more on Wolf Mountain because I get a ton of requests for that. It seems like people are super into it. And so that's what I'm going to do right now. Last week, we just a quick recap. I talked a lot about having awareness, like self-awareness, and I got my notes over here, so I'm gonna look over here so they don't light up my face like a Smurf. And look, see that like terrible campfire flashlight look. It's like, tell a scary story though. That'd be cool. Yeah, being in command of our own vessel, like being in command of our own thoughts, like thinking our own thoughts. Like I encourage people to meditate, or at least take time out of the day where they are taking some time to process their own thoughts, not scrolling on the phone. One of the examples would be if you are like looking at TikTok for an hour before you go to bed, you're just going to be full of other people's ideas and thoughts. And
how long is a TikTok hour?
It's like 10 seconds. Yeah.
Yeah.
I laugh because I just got TikTok because of one of my friends is on there, and I'm like, I hate this app. It's like sucks you in and does not let you go. So many pretty things in there. Also, like, just so you know how you should feel and you know who you are and you've got your own thoughts. Otherwise, you're just being thrown around like a wave in the wind, or a tumbleweed in your head. And if you're absorbing as an empathic person, as a clairsentient, as a spiritually gifted or sensitive person, you will absorb. It's easy for you to absorb other people's energy and then process it as your own. And then it's like you can just lose yourself. And so we talked about that a lot last week in detail. And if you want to catch that, which is probably a lot clearer this week because I can still see it's blurry, that is on our Wolf Mountain page on YouTube. So I promised to pick back up last week with the same subject and expand it a little further. So that's what we're going to do. Everybody with me? That was very Chris Ellison.
You're supposed to make them repeat what you just said.
Everybody repeat what I just said, please. So one of the ways that we as spiritually sensitive people, empathic people, clairsentient people, again, I always feel like I need to explain that for everybody, but I think everybody on here probably knows what that is by now, is we oftentimes lack confidence when we go into a situation, like a lot of people do. This is a very like approval-based culture. And so I got a story I always tell of a friend who was a wedding photographer, and she would just lose her mind when she'd go shoot a wedding because she would just be plugged into what everybody thought about her. She didn't have a lot of confidence as a person, insecure, and she was like reaching energetically out to everybody at the wedding instead of just the person she was there to focus on, which was her subject that she was shooting that day. And I talked about that last time. Your body is actually in your spirit. Your spirit's not in your body like a little ghost that comes in and out when you die. Energetically, if you picture like yourself in the center of an energetic field, that energetic field is spread out, picking up other people's energetic fields, and you can push it out, you can pull it in. It can be as broad as the whole world. Some people are just super sensitive to different levels of energetic input. Everybody resonates on different frequencies, and that's why you see some people are really sensitive to certain energies and some people aren't. And these people that aren't are like, you're crazy, that's not a thing. And these people that are like, I'm not crazy, it is a thing. It's because we all resonate in different frequencies, and everything resonates on a frequency. And some of us are just more sensitive to those frequencies as others, and we can pick them up and decipher them. So I always use the example, it's like your cell phone. There's lots of information flying around in the air that you cannot see. But if you have a device like a cell phone, yes, one of those, you can pick up and translate that information that's in the air. It's the same thing with you. It's like, it works the same way. There's lots of stuff out there that we can't see, but we can pick it up, and then we usually process it through our emotions. And the emotions, or our feelings, our senses are the vehicle in which we interpret that information. So my friend was reaching out like this and like just plugging into everybody, and she just was about ready to quit her gig because she couldn't like focus at all, and she'd come home wrecked and all this stuff. And I was talking to her, and I feel like Spirit just gave me some insight, like dropped it to me. It's like, tell her to like unplug from everybody, that she's not there to focus on. Just like literally imagine a USB cord plugged into people. She was plugging them into everybody when she walked in the room. Just like visually, like in your head, in your imagination, just start unplugging them from people, and just keep the cord plugged into the person that you were meant to focus on. And so like the next time I saw her after she did a wedding shoot, she was like, that changed my life. Like that, I was able to go to the wedding. I was able to focus on my client. I didn't come home destroyed. I didn't lose my mind, because she quit reaching out to everybody energetically. And she didn't really realize she was doing that. This person, very interesting, a friend of mine, I could feel her walk in the room even if I didn't see her, because she had a very powerful, I don't know, people want to call it metron or whatever. I call it energetic field. Like, she was just very powerful. Bless you.
Excuse me.
My metron just made you sneeze.
I know, I'm allergic to your metron.
I'm allergic to it. She had just this ability to like spread herself out in a way that was tangible. I could feel it when she'd come in the room. I'm like, oh, here she comes. And she'd walk in the back door. And her energy was very chaotic. And actually, that person was a lot to manage as being a friend, because her energy was so chaotic and like kind of combative and needy that you could just, it would exhaust you being around it. Cause it's like pulling. And so all of that to say, if we are lacking confidence in ourselves, if we are not comfortable in our own bodies, if we're looking for approval, if we're looking for threats, if you're in fight or flight mode, we talk about that a lot. If you have trauma in your life and you're always triggered into a fight or flight mode, or a PTSD, a trauma situation that's triggered you into this kind of fight or flight mode, you will actually like walk into a restaurant or walk into a store or Costco or wherever else, church, library, downtown. There's a lot of people, especially if you care about the people, you know, and you will like reach out energetically and start like picking up everything, like scanning everybody's energy to feel if they approve of you. And so you're literally like, it's like you're spreading your energetic field out, and it's intertangling with theirs, right? And so then you're starting to pick up all this information from everybody, and it can really be exhausting. And so depending on who's in the room or what you're broadcasting or what they're sensing and then sending back to you, you can actually be creating your own atmosphere by the signals you're putting off, depending on how powerfully you can do that. I know that's a lot to like swallow. People are probably can feel people digesting that, like, huh, I never really thought about that. But it's kind of like it's a thing, like kind of like the expectation and the energy you put out. People can sense that in their energetic field, and they will like respond to you the way you believe you should be responded to.
Is that the law of attraction kind of thing?
It's kind of a law of attraction kind of thing. I forgot the name of it, but it's almost like if you walk into a room and expect to be picked on, you're going to get picked on, kind of a thing. It's like we can automatically sense how people feel about each other or about themselves, and we will treat them accordingly because we're picking that up on the energetic plane. Not everyone's that sensitive or aware of what they're doing, but it's a thing. And so you can actually, I talk about Costco and things like that all the time as a joke, but it is true. Like you'll come and like go into like a Costco or like a Walmart, or I don't go to Walmart. I might run through Walmart to save somebody who's on fire, but I don't go there unless I have to.
In Hawaii, though.
Walmart in Hawaii is different. It's true. Anyway, and so, you know, it's just getting all this chaotic, like energy, and it doesn't feel good, right? And so it's hard to shift that big of an atmosphere. But if you're in a small place, like, I mean, it isn't for some people. You can do it, actually. You could probably just like work your way up. But, you know, say you're going to a smaller group that you go to all the time, like a yoga class or something, or your gym or whatever else, and you walk in and you can just start to feel, you start to feel like the energy's low. I do that all the time. I'll walk into a place and I can feel like the energy is low. Like someone's in a bad mood. It's usually whoever has got the most authority over the place, or it's their place, or they're the coach, or they're the leader, or they own the building, or whatever. If they're in a low mood, you can feel it, and it makes everybody in a low mood. And not everyone's conscious of that, but I sure am. I can tell. I'll walk in immediately, like, whoa, someone's having a bad day. You know, it's usually like the most powerful person in the room. And so I'm like, you can either come under it, but then I know enough now where I can shift it if I want to. I don't always want to. I'm just like, I don't have time for this. I'm just gonna do my thing. But I'll just start acting the opposite of the way that I feel when I walk in there, to raise to shift the atmosphere. And I've done it enough now where it's pretty successful. I bet you probably 75, 80% of the time I could shift an atmosphere in a small group like that. And it's pretty fun, actually, you know. And so that is kind of another way I will walk into a place. Like I like to walk into a place like just with the thought that I'm here to be an ambassador for the kingdom of light, for the kingdom of heaven. You know, it's like maybe it's my job sometimes to like be the light spreader, and sometimes I need people to spread light to me, right? But I'm always walking around like knowing that I've got a conduit from, you know, the Creator, God, the Spirit of truth, you know, the life that the spirit of life that created everything flows through me if I want it to, right? And so I'm like walking to places like I have that available to me. I can be a conduit to like shift this place into a higher frequency if I want to, you know. And so if we were walking around not just like freaked out about, you know, what everybody's thinking about us all the time, we're not going to be in that kind of position to like hold our own space, walk in with confidence in who we are. We're going to be like, I wonder if that person, what are people thinking of what I'm wearing or looking or how I'm walking or what I'm ordering, or, you know, like that person's really attractive. And I'm like, oh, they're making me uncomfortable because I don't know if I am. Like all that information you're pulling in and out, it just makes you crazy. And so reaching out like that, we can then start to shift according to, we're then permeable. I've talked about that, and we'll start to shift. Like our emotions will shift, our mind will shift, our thoughts will shift, and we just get thrown around. And so that's why I said a lot of people with those kind of spiritually sensitive giftings don't like to be in public places a lot of times. And talked about it last time, they'll make some excuse like, let's say it again. Last time I've been around a lot of people. They'll be like, they'll walk into a restaurant or something, and they start feeling like tweaky and uncomfortable just because they can't manage their own space or they're insecure. And then they'll get all like crazy and they'll walk out. Oh, I can't be in there. There's some bad spirit in there. And I'm just like, it's making me crazy. I'm like, well, just hold your own space. Like, you know, it's like, who are you? And you just like make an excuse because you're insecure and uncomfortable to leave, you know, because something's icky in there and you can't handle it. You know, it's just like, just suck it up. You know, you'll be all right. And it's kind of got to build up your own muscles in that arena. So a lot of that comes, oh, and the looking for threats thing too. That's a big thing right now. It's like, you know, with the last year and COVID and the whole us versus them thing, and everyone's being terrorized by like information that who knows where it came from, and all these conspiracies, and who knows what the truth is. And everyone's been on edge, especially like spiritually sensitive people that are picking up the global angst and anxiety and drama and all that stuff, and they're just on edge. And so it's putting them in fight or flight, which makes you constantly look for a threat. And so if you are in that kind of a mental state where you're walking into a place and you're just looking for threats all the time, you're literally broadcasting out your gift as well, your energy, like feeling everything, feeling for threats, and you'll find them because they're there. You know, they're probably not significant, but you're just like doing a sweep of the area constantly, you know, looking for anything that might be a threat. And so, you know, you kind of find what you look for if you want to. If you reach out that far, find something in agreement with what you believe, you'll find it. So that was a lot.
Yeah.
That's a big, yeah, have all of that, people.
You're welcome.
Okay. So, so basically I just chalked that all up into lack of confidence and insecurity is one of the reasons. I could have just said that. is why you walk into a place and you start feeling rattled or jarred or uncomfortable, or you take it home with you because you had spread yourself thin. And if you imagine like yourself in the center of your spirit, your broadcast spirit's out, and you're interchanging like information with people, and they take off with it, and you bring some of theirs back home. You know, if you kind of think of it that way, you kind of got to like clear out other people's energy out of your own. And if you're reaching out all the time with your gift, you're just going to pick all that stuff up and keep it. And you don't really want to do that. You need to be able to manage your own space. And so not knowing who you are, not being confident in who you are, not knowing how you should feel, not knowing your own thoughts, those are all things that are going to cause you to integrate everything around you into yourself and feel like a crazy sponge.
Julie said the feed just cleared up, which it did.
Oh, did it?
So yeah.
Somebody shifted the feed.
Oh, thanks whoever shifted our internet.
Awesome. I shut a bunch of pages when we in the in-between time.
In the in-betweens.
Okay, well that makes me feel better.
Yeah.
Here's another thing that is kind of related. It is neediness. If you are a needy person, you are going to reach out to everybody else and in your environment, your atmosphere, looking for something to fill the need in your life that isn't getting met. And so I've actually been working with a friend of mine on examining my own life if I'm getting basic human needs met. So I'm going to go through the list that she sent me of basic human needs. So these are basic human needs that everybody needs. And it's like by experiencing love as demonstrated through this act. So everyone needs to feel welcome. Everyone needs to feel accepted. And everyone needs to feel valued. I think those three are very related. Everyone needs to feel protected, empowered, like they have a purpose. They need to feel comforted. Interesting that Holy Spirit is called the Comforter in the Bible. Everyone needs affectionate touch. Everyone needs to be known. Everyone needs to be heard. Everyone needs to be understood. Fours, we need to be known, heard, and understood. It's very important to us. Everyone needs to feel well. And I added my own, everyone needs to feel challenged. I think you actually need to feel challenged as a human being, or you just stagnate and die. What's Amber saying?
Amber's doing good. That she's bringing her light wherever she goes, so she doesn't need to feel threatened or bullied around by someone's crappy energy.
That's awesome.
Good job, Amber. Yes.
So why do I bring all those up? Because if we're not getting those basic needs met in our life, subconsciously we will try to get those needs met. And that plays out in all kinds of ways. It'll play out, in the natural realm as us reaching for stimulants or adopting a behavior, or like kind of right hand not knowing what the left hand is doing, like going places that aren't healthy for us, or if you're in a bad relationship and you're not getting all of that stuff met, and just for years you're just going to be like starving for it, and so you'll look for it in other people. And that's why it's really important to work on your relationships all the time with your significant others. It's a good form of communication there. But when it comes to spiritually sensitive people, we will actually like ping the atmosphere looking for that stuff if we're a deficit in our life. So if we're needy in an area and we're gifted in that way, we will just like ping the atmosphere, basically like energetically searching for that stuff as well, no matter where we're at. And that's just one of our tools to get what we need. And so it's good to examine that list of needs in your life and like, am I getting this in my life? And it's, even if you're not a spiritually sensitive person, it's good to examine these things in your life, because you will find them, like you would need them. And so some way or another, you're going to find these things. And so like, say a lot of people don't feel connection, let's say, to other people, isolated. They will like go find it like in the internet. A lot of people with internet addictions, they're just not getting connection at home or whatever, and they'll just find it somewhere. And so it's good to examine that list of basic human needs. And it's actually online a lot of places. Like it's a pretty common theme in psychology. That keep that list in your, examine it once a month or whatever. I'm like, am I getting these needs met in my life? And if like I'm not, how am I going to remedy that? Like, how can I get that met in my life in a healthy way? Like maybe I need to like find a different community, or like shift this relationship around, or some brave communication, or, you know, whatever you need to get it, you know, in a healthy way. Or it'll be like you're starving for something and someone throws a piece of meat in front of you and you just jump on it like a rabid animal, you know. And so we do the same thing energetically. And so why that translates is if you are spiritually sensitive and you're trying to maintain your your sanity, and you're going into places with lots of people and you're going out like this because you're constantly hungry for something, you're going to like sift, you know what I mean? And so your spirit then gets kind of permeated more with everybody else, or the environment, or the earth, or the natural world, or whatever else is out there. And you just like spreading yourself really thin energetically, if that makes sense. And so that is another tool to keep up your shields, is making sure you're always getting those basic human needs met to the best of your ability. Make sense?
Makes sense to me.
All right. I know I'm talking a lot, but there's a lot to cover here. I'm trying to do this in 2 parts. Where are we at? Oh, we got 6 minutes.
Auctioneer style.
Auctioneer style. Ready, and solve all the world's problems in 4 minutes. I want to talk a funny thing that 4s do specifically. It's called the push-pull syndrome. Like we do this thing where like we want people to want us, but when they're close to us, we're like, get away, you know? And that will, if you are wired that way and you are spiritually sensitive, you're going to reel people in with your tractor beams and then push them away and play this yo-yo game. And so you're like fishing all the time in the spirit to fill people. And so what you'll do is, I'm talking from experience, is you'll like search for somebody who's got something in agreement with you, or like a connection, and then you'll just tractor beam on them, and then you'll start like energetically pulling that person to you, and you'll just be able to figure them out because you can start to feel them and they start to feel you, and you start getting to their head, and then you know what will draw them in. And then you just, as soon as they're close enough where you're satisfied that they like you or approve of you, and then you'll smack them away. And that is
everyone loves that.
That is a messed up game that you should stop doing if you're a 4, especially if you're a spiritually sensitive 4, because you're using people as a puppet. You're manipulating people.
It's a ball of yarn.
It's like that's bad magic, my friends. You are literally energetically reaching out and messing with somebody just to satisfy yourself, because you want to know that everyone likes you, right? And so you're like, I need you to approve of me because I need some stuff, but you're close enough to me, it's making me uncomfortable, and now I'm going to slap you away. And then also messes with them as well. And so try not to do that. Needing validation outside of divine identity is a big one. Like that's hard. I think a lot of people are in different places spiritually. What people sometimes wonder, like ask me like, why Christianity? Because I've had encounters with God, that I know Jesus is who he says he is. And so I'm really invested in who God says I am, according to biblical text. And it's awesome. It's like I'm very valuable, right? Worth the very life of Jesus. And so for me, knowing that's my value to God is pretty much the light of the universe. I have to come to a place where I'm like, I either believe like who God says I am, or I don't. And it's like, how much is the blood of Jesus worth, the life of Jesus? Well, or how much is my life worth? Well, apparently to one man, at least, even if he was just a crazy person, he thought that my life was worth his. And so he died for me, So at least one person out there was thinking about you in the future and decided your life was worth dying for. And so everybody out there, one man thought of you and thought, I will die for that person. And even if he was insane, which we know he's not, that's a big deal. So just having your identity grounded in who God says you are, like you are created intentionally and you're looked after. And if you start listening to the spirit and watching how like the universe orchestrates for your benefit, and start trusting, that you're allowing yourself to trust the spirit that's guiding you, you start to think like, I'm a pretty big deal, because like I'm getting like directed attention from God, helping me out on my journey and giving me answers. And that only comes by paying attention and forming a dialogue. And so My identity is like really rooted in who God thinks I am, not people, you know? And so people can come and go, you know, and they're fallible, and we're all imperfect, and we're all afraid of the same things. We all need the same things. And so if I'm looking at imperfect beings for my value, guess what? You know,
You're going to be disappointed.
I'm going to be disappointed. And so I have to have some kind of foundation of what my value is, you know? And so I'm not needing validation outside of the divine, you know? And so, but we do need validation from other people. It's part of our existence as a human animal, you know? We need certain things. We need to fit into the pack. We need to fit into the tribe. We need to feel accepted. But ultimately, in the end, that's not what defines you. That's not what gives you value, right? And we'll just cover this.
1 minute.
I was thinking of this, and wrapping all this is to wrap this all up. I was thinking about this the other day. Is how do you belong to a community without becoming subject to the collective mindset? Because that is a thing. So inside a community of believers in anything, there's this atmosphere and energy that sucks you in, and you don't really need proof because everybody believes. And so you just accept it. But outside of that community, it needs to be tested, right? Because not everybody believes like you. They want some evidence, right? And so it doesn't matter how many books you have. It's like, show me, you know? But we can also then be shifted in a wrong direction if everybody goes a bad direction. Well, I've been in a few communities that were like that. Like everybody just went a different direction I knew wasn't good. And I'm like, well, I don't want to be part of this community anymore, you know? And one example I'm thinking in particular where everybody wanted to make this pact, like a verbal pact to all work together on this certain thing that was pretty intense in the spirit. And the Holy Spirit's like, do not make a pact with them. You can like offer your services, but don't make a pact with these people, you know? And it turned out in the end that it all got really ugly, but I was the only one not subject to it because I didn't fall into the collective mindset. I didn't willfully submit myself to that collective mindset, if that makes sense. But so we are invested in humans, you're invested in people, you're invested in community, you're invested in a belief system. Especially, you know, everyone knows I'm talking about, you know, like particularly like a church or a club or something else. Like, how do you keep your independence? How do you keep your own discernment? How do you keep your finger on truth and not get sucked down the river with them if they go down the wrong chute, you know? To me, I always have to put the Spirit first. You know, I have to trust the Holy Spirit's going to guide me, and I have to check in constantly every single day. And I constantly, guys, behind the scenes with me, I'm constantly praying that the Spirit of truth would guide me. It's like, I want to know the truth, even if I have to sweep everything off the table and start over, even if I have to face my own demons, even if I have to change my life completely, even if it means I have to walk completely away from this. Every single day, I'm like, I want to know the truth. And the truth is a person, and I want to be like shackled to their wrist. That's just one of my own convictions. Paying attention to your own discernment. There's a thing where you can actually numb your own spiritual gift. You can only numb your discernment, or if you're a gut, head, or heart person, if you start ignoring that check all the time, you get a red flag sometimes and you start ignoring it because everybody's going that way. You're like, I guess I'll just go that way because everybody else is. You feel the pressure. You will numb you will get, it's like smell blind, basically. It's like when there's a stink in your house that you're so used to, you can't smell it, but people walk in and they're like, whoa. You can do that with discernment. If you ignore your discernment enough, you just get discernment blind, where you won't recognize discernment anymore because you've severed that, you've shut it off, you've ignored it. It's like you stop working that muscle out and going with it, and then truth's back there, like she's like going, you know, like, I've been talking to you, you're just not listening to me, you know, because you're more concerned about them than you are me. Holding your space, you know, is really important when you're in a group or in a community. I had to do that a lot in the last 10 years. I was involved in some things where I'm like, this is just some stuff not going on that I knew wasn't cool. Certain speakers that were not legit speaking on stage, and I just knew that they were shady. And then later it turned out that it was true. It was just like I had to hold my space, and like I don't care if the whole room, like 1,000 people are jumping up and down, like thrilled about whatever's going on. Like I have to listen to truth, you know? And it's hard because you just kind of sometimes have to be the odd man out, but you got to hold your space, you know, like all the stuff I talked about before comes into play there. If you're really confident in all of that stuff, you'll be able to hear truth really clearly and be able to walk away. Like if you're in a community and your energy's just always wrecked and you're not, you know, you just always feel psycho and you don't know what to believe, and there's a lot of cognitive dissonance, 2 programs running at the same time, like your discernment trying to tell you one thing and everybody else trying to tell you another. Just things aren't gelling or working out. Or I always say this with, I have no particular people that are always like, you know, God's good and everything's good and I'm fine and this community's great, and you know, like all these things should be, they teach all these good things should be in their lives, like the fruits of the spirit, right? When things are lined up, but their life is a complete huge freaking disaster, you know, and you gotta like, there's some cognitive dissonance there where like they're not looking at the situation. It's like, you know, if I'm doing the correct thing, all these things should line up, right? You know, but it's not, and so they're playing this game. We're like, well, the evidence is broken, but I'm believing this, but it's just not. They're not meshing up, and so what that does to them on a discernment level is just creates this cognitive dissonance, and they can't trust their own thoughts anymore, and they're just blind to what's actually happening around them. And so a reason why I say that is because it's really important to know who you are. And I talked about it last time. I had this vision with Spirit where she was like, it wasn't too long ago, where I was basically my consciousness. I was just kind of consciousness in this vision. And I was like dissipating out like this into all the noise of the world and everything else, the universe, traffic, radio, people talking, other people's thoughts and ideas, the earth, everything. I was just kind of like fading into it. And it felt like I was dying. It felt like that's what it's like to die. You just kind of dissipate and just like, and in this vision, I was just letting go into that kind of energy, and you just kind of fade out. But then Spirit was like that. She's like, pull yourself together. And it's like, she's like, concentrate and pull yourself in like this. And like, who are you? You need to like know who you are. Like concentrate on who you are. Pull yourself in. Pull your own thoughts in so you can like separate yourself from all the other noise. It's like, I need you to, she's like, I need you to do that. Concentrate on it. This is what you need to do. And it's like, that's how you're going to find yourself in all of this noise right now. It was really powerful. And I think that that's what I want to leave you with on this particular teaching on managing your empathic gift, your spiritual gifts, is you got to be able to find yourself in all of the noise out there. And so as we talked about, you spreading your spirit out like this, like reaching out into everything, stop doing that. You know, stop scouring the news, stop going on TikTok, stop reaching out to everybody who's around you.
You have TikTok?
Stop. Well, I mean, you know, a little bit of stuff's okay, but we got to quit reaching out to find ourselves in all that information. At least at some point during the day, pull yourself back in and find yourself and who you are. Make sure you do a health check on yourself, you know, with getting your basic needs met. How are you managing your health? Are you having your own thoughts? Are you leaving time throughout the day to like think and process all the information that you have been ingesting? Are you shutting off that phone right before you go to bed, which is bad, or giving yourself time to like have your own thoughts? Because as a spiritually sensitive person, you're constantly absorbing energy and other people's energy and thoughts and frequencies and processing them through your body, because your body is the instrument that you translate that information through, whether it be your feelings, art, emotions, way you're thinking, what you're doing. You will translate it somehow. You just will process it and it will come out. And so if you're not giving yourself space to do that, you're going to do it all night. And then you'll wake up with that information integrated into your being, you know? And so you don't want that. You want to be able to find yourself. Just do this to yourself. Like pull yourself together and find yourself in the space you're in, because you are valued. You're fearfully and wonderfully made. God knows every hair on your head. He's got hope and he's got a hope and a plan for your future. Did I get that right? Mm-hmm. Like the universe is working for you, no matter who you are. You just have to reach up like this instead of out and find your identity and touch base this way, you know, and anchor into that instead of anchoring into people, because people are fallible, you know? And so
It's true.
I feel like I talked a lot. I feel like I just worked out.
Sold
to buy my books. I don't have any. Anyway, there you go. I finished up that. I did it. I finished up the whole thing. Yay, good for me. Bless you guys. I love you guys. I want to bring more of this kind of thing to you to help you navigate on your journey, because we should all function.
We can do it.
We can do it. You know, we shouldn't be blown around like a tumbleweed, because the Bible says that those who are born of the Spirit take after the Spirit, and this Holy Spirit is like the wind. Think about what the wind can do. And we want to be the wind and not the tumbleweed, because we're made in God's image, not a tumbleweed's image, right?
Thank goodness.
Yeah. And so we want to be more God-like, because that's God's plan for us, to be like God than to be like a tumbleweed. And so we can function and be healthy, and you're not crazy, and God wants all your needs to be met, and it's all, you have access to all of it. And so there. Bless you guys. You can catch our blurry feed apparently on YouTube if you want to find our Wolf Mountain YouTube page, where everything's replays on there if you want to check out last week. And check those out. Anything I'm missing? No, we will probably be here next week. I don't think we're going anywhere. So we will see you next Sunday. Hopefully the feed's better.
Or Monday or whatever.
Oh yeah, Mondays now.
It's hard to know.
Mondays. If you guys rather do Sundays, let me know in the comments.
I have to say I can't do next Monday, so maybe next week we do Sunday. I got
maybe
air show
we'll
meeting
be fluid
in
and
person.
do next Sunday instead then. Okay. Mm-hmm. Well, I'm going to change all my advertising. All right, guys. Love you. Bless you. Have a good night.
Be well. Have a great week.
We'll see you next time.